Good morning, traders. Welcome to our weekly Trade Love Academy's MES Futures Breakdown. I'm Fatima, your guide to mastering the Micro MES S&P 500 futures trading. So if you're transitioning from SPX500 like CDFs, or you're just wanting to sharpen your futures game, you are in the right place. So each week I'll break down market structure, trade setups, risk management, and pro tips to help you trade with confidence and consistency. So whether you're a beginner or an experienced trader, my goal is just to help you navigate the futures market with clarity and precision. Alrighty, guys. So I was a little late jumping on, but so happy to see people here. If you guys are ready, let's go ahead and throw some hearts in the chat. Please like the trade video here. And let me go ahead and start sharing my screens. Give me one moment here. All right. So today we're just going to be looking at ES. We can look at US 30, whatever you guys want to look at today. I'm going to pull up our news. So we're going to use Forex Factory, and then we'll look at Econo Day. We'll also take a look at Bloomberg for our fundamental analysis there. All right. Let's see, what else do we have? Okay, we'll pull up Top Step so that we can also throw some trades into our demos. All right, good morning, Charlotte. How are you? How's the trading been going? All right, so I'm going to pull up our here we go. Awesome. I am doing well. Okay. Perfect. Let me go ahead and share our screens. Hey, Cornelia. Perfect. You guys like the channel, subscribe to the channel. Let's get everyone, remind your friends that we are live and ready to get into the markets today. Let's share my screen. Okay, so you guys know the drill. You guys have your notebooks together. We're going to go over our fundamental news, technical news here. I don't have any trading psychology that we're going to go over, but we will do our trading affirmations. And then we're just going to hop straight into the markets. We're going to be practicing. I want to do some back testing. So we'll do the same thing we do every week. We're going to mark up our charts. So that means we're going to look back at the higher time frames, mark out key levels in the market that we want to take a look at. Then we will zoom into the 15-minute, set up our intraday trade so that we have some take profit and entry kind of destinations within the market today. And then we'll go back and just practice how we would have used our indicators. So we're using our RSI, our pivot levels, and our like moving averages to help us get in and out of the market. So we're going to practice that back testing from Monday. Good morning, Ty. You made it. We were waiting for you. No, I'm just playing. Okay, so if you guys are ready, go ahead and like the video, throw some hearts in the chat, throw some emojis, whatever we can do to get our blood pumping, and we will start with our affirmations. Okay. see if we can make this a lot bigger so you guys can see. Where is it at? Where is it at? Oh God, I always forget how to make this bigger. Oh, here we go. All right. Okay, you guys are ready. Okay, so we know that trading affirmations are powerful statements that act as positive reprogramming of the subconscious mind. It allows us to create the life in trading that we truly desire. So the unconscious mind is like the most powerful force in our brain. So to put this into perspective, right? The conscious brain can process 40 bits of information per second. The unconscious brain is 500,000 times faster and can process a whooping 200 million bits of information per second. So therefore, we really want to make sure that we are telling our brain positive things. So let's go ahead and start the trading day with our trading affirmations. So you guys say them with me. I am becoming more intelligent every day. I am a well-informed trader. I am confident in my ability to make money in the market. I trust my analysis, and every trade is an opportunity for growth and learning. I understand the importance of risk management. I am a disciplined trader making calm and rational decisions. My mind is focused. My decisions are precise, and success is my daily companion. I am so happy and grateful that money comes to me from multiple sources on a consistent basis. I mean, all righty. Okay. Did you guys say, does anyone else have like any affirmations that they want to add to our group? I know that we made these together last year sometime, but if you guys have something that really helps you to get focused in the market, to help, get your mind, get you into that flow state, share it with us. We'd love to hear. All right. Alrighty, so we are on FinViz. Drop the link in the chat. We just want to have just an overview of the S&P 500. Kind of giving us a Snapchat. It's a little heat map here. It looks a little mixed, but if you guys had to give a bias, kind of what you thought the market, just, we haven't, the New York session hasn't opened. This is the one-day performance of the market here. Would you say that it was mostly green or red? Look at the major sectors to give you an idea, like the technology sectors here. Green, I agree. Mainly green. We're having some selling here like Google and Amazon. If you guys follow the Trade Love Academy Instagram, I do try to post the earnings for the week from Trade Whisperer. So I try to do that, every other day or so. I'll try to drop those in our Telegram group as well. Okay, so let's see here. What do we have coming up in the US market? So today is Wednesday, June the 4th. Can't believe it's June already. What do you guys have planned for the summer? Any exciting plans? Any vacations going on? I was trying to plan us a boot camp for the summer, but we'll see. I need to get a beach trip in. Definitely have to go to the springs. Definitely have to take the kids to Orlando. I want to go to Universal. So my son and my nieces and nephews, definitely got to take them. Yep, Ty, the year definitely went by so quickly. Really, really. Half the year done already. Cornelia is going to travel to the Bahamas. Cookout with the trade. Yeah. Oh, that would be nice. Definitely going to have a cookout. I don't have a pool in my backyard anymore. I'm a fish. I love swimming, but my subdivision has a really cool pool, has like slides, everything like that. So I guess I'll be at the pool trading. Probably will grill and then bring that down to the pool and be there all day. So I love the summer. Lot to look forward to. I definitely want to get some more education in. So I'll be taking some classes, start studying for my series 3. So that's going to be exciting. Getting ready for, August. Okay, so today, again, Wednesday, June 4th. Don't really see too much going on today. We have ADP employment report coming out at 8:15. That already came out at 8:15. PMI. Let's see here. I do like Econo Day because it kind of tells us what's going on and you can click and it gives you some information about the consensus and how it performed previously and the upcoming like releases there. But I do like Forex Factory as a quick snapshot. So we had ADP non-farm employment change that just data that just released at 8:15. So that provides an early look at employment growth, usually 2 days ahead of government release unemployment data that it's designed to mimic. So we care about that because job creation is an important leading indicator of, consumer spending, which accounts for majority of overall economic activity. So definitely a major data release that was just dropped. So we like to make sure, boom, we know what's going on and we're not in the markets as I was yesterday at 10. I was just so focused in the market, 10 a.m. That news dropped and hit my stop loss immediately. That's why I always, if you get locked into the markets like me, that's why I say put that vertical bar. And I'm guilty of it. I just like to trade. I don't think of myself as a guru or an educator or coach or anything, even though I do say coach. I'm just giving, passing on the information as I've learned it, as it should be. But even I am guilty of, doing things, not, following the rules, going off target. And I just be transparent about that because we got to be able to relate. I'm coming from an area where the educators were all making thousands of dollars every day. I don't think I've ever seen them ever say they had a losing day. And so that's hard, it gives us performance anxiety, self-inflicted performance anxiety, when we think that we have to be performing at a high level every day and wins are the only thing that, we're going to take out of the market. So remember, in the Telegram group, we are holding each other accountable. You guys, we want to definitely drop. Woo! Look at this baby. This is on the 30-minute time frame. That baby dropped here. All right, let's zoom out. Let's get into these markets, guys. We are missing out on the action, but are we? We aren't. Because it's coming right down here to our S0. We'll see how price reacts at this S0. We know that typically price wants to come back over to this area. We'll see if it blows through this support zone. So let's go ahead and get our charts all marked out up. Let's zoom out, clear up our charts. Ty says pools at home are costly to maintain. Girl, tell me about it. Tell me about it. I had to learn that the hard way. I had to learn that the hard way, but it wasn't that bad. If only they would have maintained it properly. But the owner was selling, so I had to move anyways. So, well, oh, yeah, we'll let everyone else do the hard work. Letting someone else do the hard work. Yep. I want to see another bag of chlorine or salt water. We tried to transition the pool towards the end there. Oh, psh, that was crazy. Okay, so let's go ahead and start at the 4-hour time frame. I'm always okay. So let's clear up our charts here. Let's take a look to see what the market is telling us. So let's zoom out here. Kind of just looks like a bunch of little lines, but I wanted us to zoom out and get an overview. Sorry, I'm so thirsty. I made this like electrolyte elixir in my little cup there. It's manuka honey, coconut water, Himalayan salt, and like some spring water. It was pretty good. And a shot of like some berry smoothie kind of stuff. So it's a water, but it's kind of a juice at the same time. But it's so tasty and it's making me, I just made it and it's making me just want to drink the whole 32 ounces right now. So I apologize. Okay, so let's go over. Let me take out a lot of this noise just so we can see price action. Okay, so if we were looking at this chart, sounds healthy. I need it. I need that my to be dehydrated. I feel dehydrated. I needed to get some hydration. Um, these summers. Even though my house is like at 68, I'm freezing. I'm still, I don't know. I feel like I've been sitting on the beach for 3 hours. Okay, you guys, what is this looking like to us? If we can just look at the market without all that noise, just looking at a naked chart, as they say, let's try to spot some areas here. So this is on the 4-hour time frame. We are working on getting our eyes accustomed to viewing the market without those indicators. Our indicators are confirmation. Our indicators are our training wheels. They help us to gain some insight in the market. They help us to gain confidence in the market, but we want to make sure that we know what's going on without them. And you guys are on top of things. Throw some hearts in the chat, hit that little heart button. Let me know that you guys got it right. We are in an uptrend, making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, and higher lows, from April the 6th. So we are all the way in June. We had some resistance here. So price, was in that uptrend and this uptrend here for all of 2024, right? Then we had some resistance at the top here at this price at 61.60, kind of in that area. We saw that the buyers were unable to take price above this price point. Price would just reach up to 61.50, 60, around this area and just drop. Did it a couple times over, all of, let's see, starting from December, it tried a couple times in January and again in February. We had this area, as support, but then finally price just broke below that support level. We had selling coming in, making lower lows and lower highs. And now, so we had our little pullback, right? And now we've seen that price is up in our uptrend. And so we want to mark off these areas here. So we want to mark up our resistance here. That tells us when price is starting to reach at that level for us to be kind of cautious, because it was resistance in the past. We may get a little bit of rejection in that area before either price breaks through there and continues to make higher highs, or uses that area as a selling zone, as it did for months in the past. So perfect. We are in an uptrend. Awesome. Okay, so this is in the 4-hour time frame. Let's go ahead and add our indicators here. Let's see how we marked up our charts in the past. Okay. So I'm going to hide our EMAs. We're going to hide our pivotal zones. Let's just look at a clear chart right now, and let's mark out areas that we deem important. So support, resistance, psychological price points. Okay. So initially, when we start and we're starting to mark up our chart on a naked chart, we have to take 3 months of data. We mark the highs and lows. We've already done that. So we don't really have to go back too far now that we've done the hard work. This isn't a new chart. We keep, we're constantly seeing price have a high on the 4-hour time frame and a support level, and just breaking through those support levels and making higher highs and higher lows. All right. So let's move these out of the way. Not too much. I can't find them. Okay. So we had our 4-hour support at this level. Okay, at this price point. So what did price come? Remember we said those round even numbers, huge psychological numbers. So 6,000. We saw that the buyers are trying to push that baby up a couple times past that price point, and they were unable to do so. Made a higher high here. We do have a gap right over here from 57.34 to 56.92. We want to notate that gap there, just so that when price sells, we have a gap on the 4-hour, so that if price, breaks these support areas, we kind of have, in addition to any zones like on the 1-hour and whatever, we have major zones on the 4-hour, because we know that this is major support. This is what's actually driving the market. This is what the major investors are looking at. This is what the big money's looking at. They're not on the 1 minute and the 15 minute and the 5 minute as we are. So this takes precedence. Okay, so we have our 4-hour support right here. We saw that price, we have our high. Let's go ahead and throw on our EMAs. What is our EMAs telling us here? So one, we have a cross. We have our 50 crossing our 200. What does that give us an indication of? When we have our 50, this green EMA crossing our 200 EMA. Somebody put it in the chat. That is indication that we are in what type of trend? Buy trend, sell trend, big buy. Exactly, Ty. A big buy. So those are our gives us an indication of long-term trend. Yes, ma'am. She's got it. So of course, if we can see here through all the color and noise, our long-term trend, we We got this confirmation of these EMAs crossing on May the 2nd at 6 a.m. However, our short-term EMA gave us a cross, and we know that, our short-term EMA here being our 1020. Let's see, hold on. Our 1020 cross, and it can happen, multiple times. So we don't really like to use our short-term EMA crosses on these higher time frames because we can get, these mix up of signals, crossing up, crossing down, crossing up. But in this instance, we see that we had the cross of this buy, this buy confirmation, the 10 crossing the 20 way before May the 2nd. We got that on April the 23rd, and price just made higher highs. Once we had this break, remember those long-term EMAs, they're going to come. You are going to get that confirmation after. Remember, these are lagging indicators. Our EMAs take data from, previous as candlestick opens and closings and all that price data. So we get that confirmation after, which is why we like to use these in conjunction with market structure. So higher highs, higher lows, things like that. So we would see that, and we can see structure before we get the confirmation from those crosses, but those help build our confidence. So we love them. Okay, so we're seeing these crosses here. We know that our EMAs, we use them as support and resistance and to help us spot the trend. So we have a nice, long-term big buy, as Ty says, trend here. We had a shorter term confirmation. Where's my arrow? Shorter term confirmation of this 1020 cross. 50-200 cross there. Yes. So we are in our buys. We're doing awesome, making higher highs, lower lows. Remember, we're marking off our support areas and, looking at our resistance to help us identify when price is making a pullback, a significant pullback. So for instance, this was a pullback. Price came over here to 59, reached a high of almost 6,000. So 59.93, kind of in that area, and pulled all the way back here to 57.56, almost filling our gap. Not quite. Maybe some people might consider that. I don't. It pulled back here. And so it sold all the way down to 57.50. So that was a move of what? 230 points here. And, over 6 days. So this high happened on Monday. We saw that this low then happened on, Sunday at 6 p.m. So it took 6 days for that pullback to happen, but it wasn't a trend change. How do we know that it wasn't a trend change? Because did it break our previous level of support? It did not. Did it even come back kind of to this high where we had this high? I can never get my line straight. And that little thing to make your line straight, like there's a shortcut on our keypad, never works for me. Oh, it didn't come back over here to our support level, nor did it come back really to the area that we had that breakout of that buy. So this is how you can really confirm that we are still in the same trend. That's why I asked you guys, okay, what type of market are we in? Are we in an uptrend? Are we in a downtrend? Are we selling? Or are we in a pullback, meaning that, yes, we may be buying or selling, but right now we're in a little pullback, not a trend change, before continuing in that direction. So we want to be able to identify that. And this is why I say mark your support and resistance levels so you don't get confused. Alrighty, so we have these levels. Let's go ahead. Now we see what our EMAs are telling us. Sometimes if we use like our EMAs, we use our RSI, we're using our pivot levels. Sometimes we need to take all of them off and add them one by one, and just to tell us what our EMAs without all the extra noise. So if it's too much, and then a lot of times you don't need to use all these indicators. I have them here because they're going to resonate. Some people might just use their EMAs. Some people might just use the cross to get in and out of the, within their strategy. Some people might just use the pivot levels. You don't have to use them all together. I'm using them all together here so that you guys can really see how they're being used, what they tell us in the market, and see which one actually works for your particular trading style. Okay, so our EMAs are telling us that we are still in this uptrend market structure. We're seeing these higher highs, higher lows. Right now, we've reached an area of resistance, though. Our RSI, we are overbought. That does not mean that we have to sell, but typically if market is following structure, just as it did right here, we were in our overbought region. Price did what? Sold down. Then once it came here to becoming oversold, we crossed up, hit this support level. If you already had your support levels and you're just functioning off of supply and demand, that was your area there. But if you don't have an order book, if you're not looking at your order book, you don't see when the buyers and the sellers are in the market and at what, level, what degree. Huge orders. Are we having like iceberg orders? You definitely want to have, that market structure and these indicators to help us gain, some insight into the market. Okay, give me 1 second here. All right, so let's learn. All right, we're just learning how to trade here. We're just learning how to trade. We're using all of our knowledge to help us gain insight into the market. Okay, pivotal zones. Now, what are our pivotal levels telling us? So our our pivotal levels, we know that we want to take a look at our S1 and our S0. So I have our R7 and our R8. These are our support. So our support's down here at the S1 and S0. So we want to look at our support levels and our resistance levels. They give us some insight into where the market may go. If it continues to buy, as we can see, market hit this S0 level here in the past. And what did it do? We were oversold, crossed up, we made higher highs. We got our EMA cross here for a short-term, EMA cross, a short-term trend change there. So we're making higher highs. We pulled back a little bit here, but we've already, been to this kind of S1, S0 level. So we kind of have an area. We just hit some support or some resistance here. The market's still respecting our support level and not pulling back below 59.60. All right, so market's climbing up higher here. If we're able to break past this level, now we see where our next buy targets are. 60.54, 60. And if it continues to, bypass this level, we may see some resistance here. But once price continues to buy, 60.93. Okay. Right now, our RSI is showing us that we're oversold. We're kind of selling down here. We were expecting that because this was our high. We had resistance in, at this price point in the past around this area. Okay, so now what are we looking for? So we have what's going on the higher time frames. We use this information. Typically, we like to do this on like a Sunday or a Monday, just to get us ready for the week, see how the rest of the week, panned out. All right, so now look at these candles here. We're seeing a lot of, let me zoom in. We're seeing like a lot of support here, kind of no price not really breaking below this 59.76 level. We're having a lot of candle openings and closings here at this price point. So I want to mark this off here as just like maybe like a minor support level on the 4-hour. Do you guys understand why I'm marking that level up? Or can you guys kind of get it? Because we're about to go to the 1-hour time frame. And if we're pulling back, our confirmation that we're going to sell is when price breaks below this level. So we want to mark that up. And I want the date too. What's today? June 4th. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so let's go ahead and come down to the 1-hour time frame now. We've looked at the 4-hour swing traders, any higher time frame traders. They're really looking at that level. Let's go to the 1-hour time frame. You can see market structure a lot clearly here on the 1-hour. Support here, making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. This is our low. So again, if we break below this area, we're going to be looking to take price where? A couple different areas. It could be our P4 level. We know that that's that medium level. Or if price continues to sell, we'll be looking to take it down. So that's when I say take profit 1, take profit 2, take profit 3. Because if price continues to sell, we have another level. If it goes to the ultimate level, we have another level. So we want to mark these off. So 59.37 may be a potential take profit zone if we sell, and then 59.08 and 58.98 if price continues and breaks past, continues to break past these lows here. What is the most probable area that price is going to come back to? The P4 or the S1 and S0 levels? Pivotal traders, what do you guys think? The P4. Thank you, Ty. And why do we say that? Okay, so this was a support. Okay, Senorita says S0. Okay, that's a potential area as well. Okay, so let's talk about why we said first the P4 and why, of course, the S0 in the S1 there. The P4 may be the most probable area because we are in an uptrend. This was our area of support. We don't want to see price kind of, when we're making a higher high, if we come back down here to this P4 level, we would be making a higher low. So if market is continuing and, the structure there, we have price kind of, bouncing around here, the P4 would enable us to have a higher high and a higher low to continue. If we see price breaking below that area and making lower lows, then yes, then definitely we see our support here at that S1 level. If it continues to come even lower, then yes, our S0, but we would really most likely anticipate it if it's staying within that uptrend. Yes, but Senorita, thank you so much for saying that as well, because that is also a level. So we always say like our take profit price points, and we have a couple of them. We say like our take profit 1 would be P4. If it continues to sell, because the market's going to do what it wants to do. Sometimes it doesn't take that low and continue to buy. It may just drop. So, you want to have those levels here, but we also want to be realistic. So sometimes when we are in our sells, we don't want to put our ultimate take profit down here at the S0 level and continue to hold on to our trade when our trade could, go back here, bounce, and continue to buy. So you don't want to give back your profits waiting. It comes to this level. And then, it turns back around up here. And now you just grab profits up here and you left all this money on the table because you were anticipating for price to come all the way down to this S0 level. So the P4 would be the first place that you would take your profit or secure your profits, or if you had 3 contracts, maybe you take off some contracts at that point and see how price reacts to that level. If it continues to sell, coming down here to this support level, which is our S1. And then if it goes even lower, then yep, our S0, which would not make you remember that even if prices come here down to our S0, we're still making higher highs on the 4-hour time frame, because remember our major support is down here at 58.70. So we want to keep those levels. That's what we're called marking up our charts. So we have our S0, we have our S1, we have our P4 levels. We see how they are in alignment with market structure, but these are our destinations. You guys are on point. All right. I mark those. I'm going to take them off of our charts, like, with these lines here, the S0 and the S1 levels. But I would keep them, if this was just for clarity, I'm taking them off. But on my personal charts, I would keep those levels on, because sometimes when, you're really focused in the charts, you're not on the 1 hour, you're not on the 4 hour. We're down there in the 15 and the 5-minute zoomed in. And if price continued to sell, we would already have those target points already on our charts. Of course, our pivot levels would kind of give us an indication on the lower time frames, because those would probably start shifting. But having that insight, they call it ghost trading or preemptive trading, or just trading with before the confirmation, kind of guessing, using, historical data to give us some insight into what may happen. We don't want to be right. So if it doesn't happen, we're not trying to hold on to these trades. If it doesn't happen, that's cool. But if it does, we have kind of that idea. Okay, here we go. TP, what is this? 59.38. And this is the 1 hour. So remember saying TP1, because if it blows past that, then I know. And I like to kind of take these levels and kind of have them already marked out, especially when I'm using pivotal zones, because when they do shift, sometimes they'll shift, go back, shift to go back. I like to have those price points on my chart, because if they were significant once, even though we had that shift, they may be significant. And what doesn't happen in the market is just as important as what does happen in the market. So I like to keep that data on my charts. Help me to gain some insight. All right. 15-minute now. I'm sorry. So let's just we talked about our pivotal zones. We talked about our moving averages and how we're still crossing up into this buy still. But our RSI, our RSI was in the overbought area, and it's crossing down. You can see that here. Okay, you see that we got that cross here, and we are coming all the way down. So that's confirming that we might push past that support level. Sorry, guys, I have allergies and my nose is itching. I feel like bewitched. Or whatever that sound is that she makes. My nose. Alrighty. Okay. Oh, you agree with me, C-Mills, right? I used to think, it took me a long time to kind of get that, but that's why I have all these things labeled out on my charts, because if price doesn't reach that level, that tells me what? We're no longer selling. We're in a strong buy. It didn't reach there. So it's very important. Knowing what doesn't happen is very important as well, not just what does happen in the market. So cool. Okay, so now this is where we set up our intraday trades. I use the 15-minute time frame with this strategy. We're going to find minor support and resistance levels. So minor structure according to like our pivotal zones, or yeah, this is where I map out, our pivotal zones. We're going to put that on our chart here. And then we're kind of done with our charting. We'll notate, our major price points. So 6,000, 5,000, even those 100 increment price points. And maybe got to see how price is reacting in the past to those levels. And then you might want to put those on your charts as well. Okay, so now let's go into our strategy here. So we already did step one of identifying, the higher time frame trend. We already did step two. We kind of did that within our charting. Okay, so we know what's the state of the market. Looks like we're still in an uptrend on the 1 hour until price kind of breaks below this level. We'll still be considering the market. We'll still be looking for buys. I'm not considering the market to be in a pullback state just yet. But once it breaks below this, if price breaks below the support level here, so this price point, what is this? Between 59.77 and 59.66. We kind of have an area that we might take our trade to, 59.38. Remember, we had that marked out on the 1 hour time frame. Okay, so 15-minute time frame. We want so now this is where I look at where my P or my R8, R7 kind of levels, and my S1, S0 levels. I mark those up because this is where I kind of would have been looking for me to take sells. Okay, so once price comes over to this zone, all of this area here, but mainly we see kind of at the R8 and the R7 that resistance there. Okay, so this was our selling area because we had resistance. And I'm going to make this red just as a visual. Remember, we're training our eyes. And then at this S1 kind of level here, this would have been our buying area because we had support here. This is this is that level. And I'm going to make this green. It's a visual buying and selling. Okay, and what did the market do exactly once it got here? Sold down, sold again. It's sold, but what are we seeing here? We're seeing some support being formed. So if we were in the market at this time, we could have marked that up. Said, okay, we have 15-minute support. Once we saw, price kind of break this level here and break past this support, we would have seen, okay, we would have already had our price target, this S0 level. What did it do? Came straight to this 59.76 area. And now what is it doing? It's buying. This is our buy zone. Where do we anticipate the market to go back up to? TP1 on just using our pivotal zones. First TP. Senorita, I want to see if P4 tie. You got it. If Senorita's still with us, do you see how we would use the P4? And then if it shoots past that, then we would, look for the there are R7 and our R8 zones. When we have these huge engulfing candles, a lot of times we do see that the market does come back to fill this imbalance. Awesome. I love when I'm explaining things to where everyone is able to understand the concept. So I love that. Perfect. And I love when, because that's how I am. Whenever I am in like a Zoom session or I'm typing, even if I'm wrong, I'm just throwing out answers because that helps me learn. Just listening all day and just watching someone else do something, engaging really does help to drive these concepts in. Okay, so now what type we're going to be setting up our trade for right now. You guys work with me. What are we doing? Are we looking for buys or sells? We're setting up our position tool. Longs or shorts? C Mills says the setup is looking good. Thank you. Love to get a little bit of confirmation. Buys. Yep, longs. So let's just go ahead and just put our position tool on to this P4 level. Some even might bring it down to, I'm going to bring it up to this R7 level. So take profit 59.94. I'm going to take some off here at the P4 level only because this engulfing candle, we had this news that came out and we know that sometimes price likes to shoot past and fill this imbalance. So P4 being, 59.86 kind of being my take profit 1 area. And then we can have our ultimate TP at 59.96, but once price comes in, and we're setting these take profits according to like market structure and where we might have a little bit of resistance. So where we might see a little bit of a pullback when price reach this target point. That's how we're setting up our kind of take profit areas. So TP2 is what? 59.93. Okay, and even though I'm setting these up, you guys should, if you're in your demos or if you're confident enough and you're taking these in your buys, I'm just teaching you a strategy. Don't wait for me. We see what's going on here. We're just gonna practice. I know Charlotte loves to practice us getting in on the 1 minute. We're just setting up our parameters here. So once we get into this trade, we know our destination and we're setting up our stop loss here. So if price goes below, some people might even say if price goes below this 15-minute candle here. Let me move out some of this so we can get some clear, you can see the market clearly. A lot of colors, but it's helping us to train our eyes. Okay. If price comes below this kind of wick here, well, did we have a wick? Let me see. Oh no, we had a flat candle bottom. Perfect. So you guys know your trading style. So if you wanted to, if your trading style is if price comes below this bottom, this flat bottom at 59.77, I'm out. If you like to give yourself a little bit of breathing room and using, the bottom of this wick from the previous 15-minute candle at 97.75, do what you must. But if we had to take a census and we were in this trade all together, where would you guys place your stop loss? Below this flat bottom, or are you going to give it some more room? So if we got in, we set our trade here at 59.82, setting it to the bottom of this, bar here, we would be risking 5 points there. And if we brought it even lower down to the bottom of this wick here, we would be risking about 7 points. The previous wick, C Mills says below the order block. Okay, so keeping a tight stop. Me and Ty kind of just, giving us some breathing room. But I agree. Honestly, if we're looking at this, if price breaks below this candle, here, not 59.77. This is a flat bottom. That would be more so of an indication that we're no longer buying. The sellers are coming in here. However, we've seen in the past, especially around this time with the New York Open, it's already 9:02. We'll see, the market come back over here, wick, grab some of those orders, and continue back into the overall trend. So whatever, you feel comfortable with, if you feel comfortable and you're like, look, I'd rather just be out at 5 points. If the market comes, back up and continues to make that buy, I'll just get back in. I don't even want to risk it. Sometimes you might risk that. So you have to look at market structure. You have to look at the time you're trading and what's going on right now. Okay, so we have an idea. We mapped out our trade. Let's go to the 5-minute time frame and let's perfect our entry point. Okay, so we're seeing what are we seeing here, y'all? We're seeing our RSI. It was coming down here, starting to cross up just a bit, but we got to be very cautious. Y'all know how I feel about trading around this time, but we're practicing our strategy. I'm not encouraging anyone to this is not financial advice. This information is used for your beneficial educational benefit. We are just trading. This is just trading education. We're using live trading environment to help us set it up. But yep, and Cornelia says red folder news as well. Yep. So just very cautious right now, but we're just practicing again how we are using our pivotal zones to determine our destination, how we're using our RSI to help us get into our, trades. There are entries and our exits. We're looking at candle structure, all of that in our trading. Okay, so we're getting this cross up. We're seeing that the last 3, 1, 2, 3, this is going to be what? Our fourth candle. We got 30 more seconds on this 5-minute candle. What is it doing? It's touching this 10 EMA. We know sometimes our EMAs are used as either support or resistance. So that's why we're kind of having that struggle right here. This EMA has been used as resistance, but now price is trying to cross above that. Oh, we have a new candle opening, 5-minute candle opening above our previous candle. That's giving me buying signals. Everything is telling me higher highs here. Oh, but it's a flat top of a red candle. I thought it was green. Looked like it came in green there. Well, okay. It was green because we had that huge, yeah. Okay, so now let's go to the 1-minute time frame. Let's see if we're going to get price. Let's see if price is going to pull back here. Let's see, we had that break. When we have a break, price kind of comes to retest this area before continuing to buy. So let's see. I'm going to get into, if price continues to make a higher high, I'm going to jump into this trade. If it comes up to 59.84, I'm going to get into that buy trade. However, I'm going to wait here to see if it's going to come back and pull back to 59.78, 59.77, that area. If it pulls back there, using our fibs, that might be a better entry. So remember, if the market continues to make higher highs, I'm not going to be sitting here waiting for a pullback. It's broken structure. It continues to break structure. I'm going to get into the market, but I want to wait. We saw that 5-minute candle. We see what time it is. We want to give the market just a little second to decide what it's going to do. Okay, so we're going to give it some time, see what's going on. So now we have our trade mapped out. This is what we're looking at getting into in the market. We're looking at this buy. If it crosses back up, we're looking at maybe getting a better entry down here. If price can come back down a little bit lower and then continue into that buy. We have 3 take profit zones, the ultimate here at 59.96. We have another at 59.93. And then our first take profit here at 59.86. So if we, you got to know what type of trader you are. Do you have 3 contracts in? You're taking one off here, taking one off here, taking one off up here, or, if the trade continues, in that direction. Now, let's talk about if this trade does not continue in our direction. If price breaks below this level, and now that would be indication that price is no longer making higher highs, we are now making lower lows. If you guys see that, press that little emoji that says like the 100 kind of like thing. Let me know that you guys are with me. We're all following. We're all on the same page. Because we get off this, we get off of our call, and then I get 1,000 DMs where everyone's like, okay, well, this just happened. So what happens here? What do I do here? Ask it now, because if you have the question, we all have the question. So remember, if it breaks below this point, what are we doing? We already have our TP level set up. We most likely will see a pivotal level shift. But remember that we had our support here on the 4-hour. If it breaks below this support level, we're no longer waiting for those buys. We may also see the market do something like this. Come back up here and then start to come back down. It could come back to this point and then break and make higher highs and come back up to this level and break above this resistance that we had marked out. So remember, we aren't trying to be right. We don't care about being right. We just want to be we just want to follow what the market is giving us, follow the signals, and be on the right side of the market. So we're not holding on to trades. If price breaks below this level, we already had our stop loss mapped out. We're not going to, adjust it. We're not going to do any of that because we've already told ourselves while we were in a clear state of mind, we've analyzed the market. If price breaks below this level, not looking for buys, in for sells. I'm out 5 points or I'm out 7 points. Let me get on the right side of the market and make up those points plus more. Okay. And you can only do that if you cut your losses as soon as you see it not going in the favor of the market or of your analysis, So we don't hold on, we just cut it and get back in. The fear is always that the market is just going to wick to those levels and then, go back into our direction. And that does happen, and that's annoying. But we have to take that with a grain of salt, because do we really get wicked in the market coming and wicking in our trades, or are we just not giving our stops enough, no room there? So find out what's going on with your trade. Find out why you got stopped out. What was the reason behind that? Do you get back in the trade? Did it just come back and you just had too tight of a stop, but your analysis is still valid, Or did it hit that loss? We're making, lower lows or higher highs, and your analysis is invalid. So, all right, let's see, what time is it? It is 9:11. Okay, we have our setup here for ES. Let's take a look at what's going on in YM and gold really quickly here. And then at 9:20, if no one has any other questions, I will let you guys go. Y'all know we do this every week, every Wednesday, same time, same place. So 8 a.m. Eastern. And we've really been focusing on ES, but we will look at the Dow and we will look at gold, kind of not going through the entire top-down analysis, but we look at these pairs too. And you do the same exact thing that we did. Let's look at, and these pairs are looking so similar on the 15-minute. They're kind of doing the same thing. Do y'all see that? Oh, thanks, Jared. Do you guys see kind of the structure being similar and where we might see kind of price? If you're trading the Dow, you're looking at the same thing. You're looking for price to come back, not to this P4 level. The pivots are telling us something different. But as far as, this support level being, what did I spell? The support level being right here, price breaking down from this news, and it looks like price is heading right back up here to 42.60, 42,633, kind of in that zone there, filling this imbalance. Might even go past that level to 42.65 because that's the R7. We know that for the Dow, though, it really does love those ultimate zones. So we may see price kind of coming back up here to this level and then continuing back down here. So you would know that sometimes the Dow is the leader. Sometimes NAS is. And what is gold doing? Gold's doing kind of the same thing. Let's go ahead and map these out because I want to look. Where am I at? If we get a break, see if it comes back up here. 60 points. See if the 5-minute is telling us the same. All right, 5-minute looks like our RSI is telling us that it still has buying momentum. So, and that's why, we try to stick with one pair, with one asset, just because so that we can learn its how it moves, its characteristics and things like that. Ooh. All right, guys. So remember, take some movements today, move around in the charts, move around in your chairs, make sure, so you don't get hyper focused on one thing in the markets there. You have your trade setups. We're all set. 1 minute looks like it's giving us some buying momentum. We know that it's going to touch this 800 EMA, and that can really be a strong resistance kind of EMA. It was in the past here, but we have this break. So our EMAs are telling us, so our RSI is telling us we have buying momentum. Our short-term EMA, we had a cross here. Our pivotal zones are telling us that, price did come here to this S0, but we might have a little bit of a pullback before continuing down to this level. Market structure is telling us the same thing. This is becoming support here, trying to make higher highs. So we'll see how this plays out. And again, same thing. Once price breaks this level of support, if it does, and even on the other side of things. So if it breaks this level of support here, that's your confirmation that, you're selling down to this Dow, this S0. So this 42,480 level, if you see a pivotal shift, you might have, shifts down here. You might want to put your fib from this low to this high. We might have a little pullback. These lines here were the 15-minute S0 and R8 from yesterday. So huge shift there. So we may, like I said, I like to keep them on the charts before I move them around, just so that I see how price reacted in the past and what it may have the potential to do today. All right. Let's see. Same thing with, see what we're going to do with this gold baby. Oh, I could just paste it over there. Alrighty. So we have our support levels here. We want to make sure we have our resistance up here at this level. So our high, whatever you want to call it, wherever you identify what the market is doing. We have another small area of support here as well. So we're looking for price to come back to these zones. And also, we just like to focus on one pair because we miss these moves. Ideally, where would we have gotten in? Right here at 8:45, once we saw that 45-minute candle coming in with that flat bottom and kind of engulfing. And then again, we had another entry here at 9. Once we would have saw this nice green candle, we had this, giving us that nice buy signal, our RSI crossing up. It's doing the same exact thing on all time frames on the 15 minutes. So sometimes these pairs can give us some good, can be twins. Okay, Cornelia says, sometimes what I see is price breaks support when I'm looking for a buy. I would think it's going to continue for a sell, but it was just a breakout at times to go back into the direction I analyze. Yeah. And so those 1 minute, the smaller time frames will help you with that as well, because we can see kind of when price can just wick in those areas. For instance, it did it right here with this Dow. It came down here and it touched this support. So, you would have been looking for, a buy. Maybe you would have gotten in this buy once, this candle came in here, but then of course that was red. It came down, pushed even lower just for it to come back up here and give us go back into this buy signal. So notate that when price does reach, we did a class on this. I have to find that class and repost it about market cycles. And so that's actually something within market structure. It's called a spring or a fake out. So price comes out here, it fakes out as if it's going to continue to sell before continuing into the direction of the trend. Don't think about it as a fake out. Just remember, if you're in, everyone's looking at the same thing. If you're looking for this buy, people that have those tight stops, they have their stops down here. The market is just coming and sweeping up those orders before continuing in market direction. You either wait, or if you know that it's good, you have to have, when it comes up to these levels here, we have to make sure that we have our stop loss and, that we give it enough room, that we know what's happening. Whenever market comes to like these S0 zones, I know it's going to do a lot of that. It looks clean here on the 15-minute time frame. Whoop, whoop. TP1 just hit on our S&P 500. All right, we got to be careful here. Let's see if it's going to continue and blow past. We could see a little bit of resistance. All right, what else? What was I talking about? Oh, yes. So when you get to those kind of oversold zones, you might need to tell yourself, look at how it reacted in the past. Those might be the areas where you have to tell yourself, I need to give myself, if you usually just gave yourself maybe 10 points for a stop loss or 5 points, you might want to spread that out. Give yourself a little bit more wiggle room, maybe only entering those trades with one contract instead of 3 or 4 or how much ever you usually, would enter the markets, and until it gives you that confirmation, because it will have that little spring effect where it's just picking up those orders. Yay! Yes, you guys. How's everyone doing? Who's trading what, you guys? And how's everyone doing? I hear a lot of yays. I see a lot of hearts and things coming up. I love to see that. We just analyzed it together. We do the same exact thing. We had clear rules, clear structure. You guys understood exactly what I was doing, what we were looking for. Brought it down to the smaller time frames, looked for a great entry. We missed, the ideal entry, would have been kind of at this point, price point here, but we wanted to make sure that we had that confirmation. We wanted to make sure that price wasn't going to pull back, and continued into that buy. So that was great. We take off any information that no longer serves us. Now, if we were in this trade and we were risking 7 points, we're definitely going to, pull our stop, reduce our risk. We're in profit now. Some people might even pull it up a little higher. For this trade here, for the Dow, we are only 6. This is now when let's work at moving our stops into profit. So let's go down to the 5-minute time frame. Let's take a look. Okay, so price is making higher highs here. We've blown past this area. Definitely remember, we have our take profit. If the market came to your take profit point, again, if you were in with 2 contracts, 3 contracts, if you're not completely out and just taking your profit, take off some profit. Ooh, Ty said she put in a low lot on SPX. That's what I'm talking about. Great, 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 great. You trusted your analysis. You saw what the market is doing. Now, what's happening here at this point? I'm going to wait for this new candle to come out. We could move our stop into profit, but I would be a little bit weary here because we might just remember for SPX, for ES, price is trying to blow through these EMAs. Now I feel confident. Now I would feel confident moving my stop below this, below this candle here. I'm just going to be trailing because of what time it is. We have 5 minutes until the New York Open. So in this situation, we just want to be very wary. Whoop, whoop. US 30, the Dow also hit our take profit point, came right up here and just kind of really just touched that support area. Remember, we're talking about break and retest. So it came up here to 42,633, had a little bit of a pullback, but on the 5-minute, we see that our RSI is still giving us buying momentum. I would, come down here to the lower time frames just to see what's going on. Okay, so it touched this R8. Let's see if it's going to come back here to this R6, kind of have our little pullback here and continue to buy. We had a little bit of remember, that's how I said, that's how we place our take profits, by where there may be some potential resistance there. So even if you didn't hold out your trade, it's pulling back a little bit now. That was still 40 points there, even though it didn't reach the full 60. We're still, 13 points in profit. Let me not speak too soon. Okay, so once we are in profit, remember, just watch it. It went there. Got to be quicker than that. Let's see. Charlotte says, how do you reduce contracts on Top Step after TP1 hits? Ooh, okay. Let's see. All right, let me make sure we're in our practice account. Okay, perfect. I will show you. Good question. Let's see if I can get down on a lower time frame really quickly. Okay, so we're in this buy. This is an ES buy. I'm going to go in with, let's just say, a buy stop of 5. Oh, actually, I need to just go into the market. Let me just get into the market here really quickly. Okay, so we have our buy stop. We're in with 5 contracts. How you would take some off is, let's just say up here, I wanted to take off a contract. I left clicked, and now you're going to limit sell how many ever you want to sell. So let's just say I want to take off 4. So now if you look at your order book right here, you're going to see that you're also having your ask of -4 right there. When it comes up to this point, we will be in profit, $25, but the market will take off those 4 points. Those 4 contracts. Let's see if it's going to do it. Hello. And if you were in, a sell, then you would do a limit buy. And that takes off those contracts. Can reduce your entry there. I want to see if we can see it in live time. Well, the market is going to open in 3 minutes. So let's see if we get some momentum. What is our Renko? Remember we had a class here on our Renko charts and just using those to help us stay with the momentum of the market. We have a nice green. I don't really like this movement here. We want to be in the market when we have a nice trending move such as this one. And as we can see, let's wait till that comes out there. All right, so look at our wrinkles here. We got that confirmation yesterday around 5 a.m. Let's see here. And we would have gotten this cross here around 59.22 price point. So as soon as we would have seen a nice green candle, a nice green block, excuse me. Oh, hold on. You guys are going to see it right now. Here we go. Price is coming over here to this area. More news in 30 minutes. Thank you, Ty. Order filled. Boom. It took off those 4 contracts. If we look at our trades, oh, where is mine? Oh, here we go. We look at our trades here. We would have seen that we took off $40 worth, $20 worth of profit with those 4 contracts. So you just go in with the opposite trade direction. So if we were in with a buy, we're going to limit sell. If you're in with a sell, you take those off with a buy. All right. Okay, I'm going to let you guys go. But okay, just back to what I was saying. We would have gotten this cross here at 59.22. Where that also would have given us a green block there. And we could have stayed in this trade. All of this noise wouldn't have really affected us, these green candles, because this took out a lot of the noise on our 3-minute Renko chart here until, of course, we got up to this point. But that yesterday at 1 p.m., and that's when we had a little bit of a pullback, and then we're, making higher highs, but it got choppy here. But if we can find this nice trending momentum with the market and stay in and use this as like our confirmation in the market, it really does help to cut out some of that noise. Okay. You are very welcome, Charlotte. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for engaging with me. We're having an amazing day today. Our charts are playing just the way they are behaving so well today. So we made some good points in the market today. Hopefully you guys found some confidence and took these in your own personal accounts, not because I said so, not because it's here on the chart, but because you understood what was going on. You felt confident. Everyone should be in profit. Ty, you took that small lot. You should be doing well. And now we know what to do after this trade plays out, because that's the main thing. I used to get off of these calls and I'd be like, oh, what am I doing now? How do I get back in the market? Am I done for the day? So we have all of our parameters. We understand what we're looking for. We're going to wait. We have that news coming out. So we're waiting for that news. And then we're hopping right back into the markets. If we didn't meet our goals, we're not being greedy, right? All righty, you guys. Again, thank you guys for learning our MES futures, practicing that market structure with me. You guys, we went over a lot of different market structure concepts today. We definitely identified, our trend direction, stuck with that trend, mapped out our trades, and we are this Wednesday, boom, TP hit And our Dow, TP1 hit, SPX500. So we are doing amazing. You guys, I will see you next Wednesday at 8 a.m. Eastern. I will be on time. And I will see you guys there. Y'all brag about what we did in our chats and tell your friends this is where they need to be on Wednesdays to learn. We're doing this so that you guys have it with or without me. You guys are amazing. Much success to everyone. You guys have got this. And I'll see you guys next Wednesday. Ooh, whoa.